Hello and welcome or welcome back to the channel. I'm Jen with Bohemian Path Tarot and it's time for May readings. So this month we've got the Runes for Modern Life. We've got the Cottage Magic Tarot, which is a new deck I'm very excited to be using. It's a newish deck. It was published, I believe, in January of 2026. I'm going to have a flip through coming out in a couple of days for you. And then I've got the Moonology Manifestation deck for our Oracle. And as always, this is going to be a general intuitive reading for each of the zodiac signs, so not quite the same as a one-to-one reading. Take what resonates for you, leave the rest. Feel free to check out the video for your sun sign, your rising sign, your moon sign. If you have a stellium in a sign, that might be useful too. Of course, I will break out each of the signs into chapters, time-stamped in the description box below. So I will catch up with you in your sign. I will see you there. Aries, let's see what your rune is for May. Ooh, Aries. Okay. And your Moonology Manifestation card. Last quarter moon in Pisces. Talk less, feel more. Okay, let's grab your tarot. Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah, so we do have some alignment here with your tarot, rune, and oracle cards. So starting with your rune, Aries is the rune of partnership, of teamwork. And it's that kind of teamwork where you get to know your partner so well you can almost read their mind, or you're so in sync you barely need language. But in order to get to that point, you really sort of need practice. You need time together, doing whatever your team stuff is to build to that point, right? So like with improv, for one example, it takes a lot of time in rehearsal, in doing shows, in spending time just like grabbing coffees and watching other improv shows to get to that point where you have that level of camaraderie and understanding each other's comedy style and whatever, to get to really tight improvisation, or not just comedy improvisation but jazz improvisation. Or like if you're in a good kitchen, sometimes you can get really tight teamwork so that you barely need to call out who's doing what unless somebody's walking behind somebody else with a hot pan, in which case, safety first. But you can get into that sort of flow with teammates or partners after trust is built and time is spent together. So that's what this rune is getting to. Either taking the time to build a trust, to really build a cohesive team, or sort of being able to work on a project with a tight, cohesive team. This can speak to sort of romantic endeavors, but mostly this kind of comes up to acknowledge other sorts of projects or teammates, or like I mentioned, you know, improv comedy or jazz fusion, or, you know, that sort of thing, your passion projects. So taking the time to rehearse or develop trust really enhances the kind of teamwork that, you know, develops the projects that you want to be a part of and that you want to succeed. Okay. What's interesting is this talk less, feel more. You know, getting to that cohesive partnership means you don't have to pick each other's brains constantly or check in with each other when you've built that foundation first. But of course, building that foundation allows you to get to that place where you can just be in harmony like that. Okay. Now, when we get to the tarot, it's interesting because we've got this really strong thematic card in the Knight of Candles. The Knight of Candles in this deck translate to the Knight of Wands in the traditional tarot. So we've got this really bold thematic card. The Knight of Wands, or the Knight of Candles, is all about going after your passions. So if you have an artistic passion or a creative endeavor you want to go after, or that dream job, a career ambition, you know, this is really highlighted or encouraged with this card here. It can see you chasing your goals, and putting passion and activity and, you know, ambition behind, you know, the things that you want to go for. It can also indicate someone else making an offer to you that you want to accept. Maybe some seeds you've planted earlier in the spring or even in the winter are now catching, you know, are growing, and you receive an offer, maybe a job interview or something along those lines, or you are invited to audition for an improv troupe or something like that. Take it as it resonates in your world, right? It could be something along those lines, and then you get to take action towards your passion. But what's interesting is we see kind of in the backstory, or kind of behind the scenes, we see a little bit of hesitation or internal sort of trepidation around going towards your ambitions. The fact that this card shows up is a like green light from the universe, or support that you are successful and wanted. But we see here the Eight of Quills, which is the equivalent of the Eight of Swords, which is that card of like, am I good enough? You know, this kind of feeling a little bit trapped in your own worries or concerns or doubts or hesitations, or even sort of those worries or the teasing that maybe you got from the mean girls in high school, or the bullies in the elementary bus or something, or even a critical parent, you know. And the thing about this is they're just the doubts that you have in your mind that are keeping you trapped. As always in the Eight of Swords, you're not fully, you know, imprisoned or entombed. You can easily walk away if you allow yourself to. So the call with this card is always to release yourself from these worries or fears or doubts. They're just, you know, you could really just blow these away and rip off the sort of bonds here and step into this passionate new project or new beginning or new job or career trajectory or whatever it is that you really want to go towards. Now, we have the Seven of Wands here, Let's get her in focus. There we go, a little better. And this is an interesting depiction the artist has given us. It looks a little catty in this depiction. I always see the Seven of Wands as sort of an audition card or an interview card, which goes along with, you know, what we have here in the Knight of Wands, going after what you want. So I think at some point in May, there's a situation where you're going to be able to audition, interview, try out, share your portfolio, send in an application, something along those lines. Take it as it resonates in your world. Approach some neighbors about starting a book club. You know, wherever you are in your life, there's something that you're going to throw your hat into the ring, or, you know, show how you can be available or appropriate to start or fill the role. And you are ready. It's right for you. So go for it. And also the Four of Teacups, which is the equivalent of the Four of Cups, obviously. Let's get this one in focus. This is indicating, you know, a time when things have maybe gotten a little stagnant and you're ready for something new, and something new is about to be on offer here. Usually we see in the Four of Cups, our central figure is kind of not seeing the new opportunity on offer. So it might come in a form you hadn't expected or hadn't anticipated, or maybe you underestimate an offer that's coming to you and think, well, that wasn't really what I was looking for. But feel free to explore opportunities that maybe you thought weren't really right for you, or weren't the ones you were looking for. The thing you need to cure your boredom or to kind of fill the next role in your life is right around the corner. It might already be in your world. It might be just in the next department down the hall or something like that. So all in all, this looks to be an actually a fun and potentially exciting month, and progress-filled month, as well as harmonious month. So Aries, please enjoy. I hope this has been helpful. I'm going to leave it right there. Until next time, take good care. Bye for now. Hey Taurus, let's see what your rune has in store. I was. All right. And your Moonology manifestation card. Talk less, feel more. That's fascinating. Let's see what we get for tarot. Ooh, Ace of Teacups, the Star, the Tower, and the Nine of Quills. Wow, very powerful. So interestingly, your oracle cards, your rune and your oracle cards were the same as Aries, even though I shuffled in between. But your tarot is different, so this is super cool. Now, the rune card, Awas, is all about teamwork and partnerships. this particular rune speaks to that kind of teamwork, or that level of partnership when you're so in tune with your partner, you barely need to speak. When you've built a level of trust, when you have enough experience with your partner, that you're just really in sync, you're really harmonious, and your sort of project or your work together just flows. And, it can be auguring a time when you're building that foundation. So it can be encouraging you to find a team or build a team, create a team, or rehearse with your team or practice with your team, work with your team to build the sort of teamwork bond, to run drills, or whatever makes sense in your world, right? Or it could be reflecting a time when you have done the work and now you can sort of reap the rewards in your partnership bond or your teamwork efforts, as it applies in your world, right? So it could be romantic, sure. It could be a time when a romantic partnership reaches a new level, but more often, or just as often, this is speaking to something like a cohesive work team, or your creative projects, or an athletic team that is working really well together. I often use the example of like an improv team. You really have to not just practice together, but also watch improv comedy, or if it's jazz improv, practice together and enjoy music, watch other musicians, listen to old records, immerse yourself in sort of the same musical language or the same comedy language, as it were, and then do your shows together. And that's what helps build that sort of foundation and get to that point where your teamwork is really solid and harmonious. And kind of relatedly, we have this Moonology manifestation card, Talk Less, Feel More. When you build that foundation, you don't need to check in with each other so much through like verbal means. You can kind of feel where the scene needs to go, or where the music needs to go, or like if you work in a kitchen, you can work fluidly together without having to, constantly check in with your chef teammates, sort of thing. Of course, this card also speaks to another piece of emotional intelligence, right? Where you don't have to be insecure, or you can grow beyond your anxieties and trust in your emotional intelligence, trust in your spiritual intelligence, and part of those skills, or building those muscles, is through meditation, listening to and looking for signs and synchronicities. So there's that piece as well. Now, we see that echoed in your tarot in a moment, but let's talk about this theme, because it's we get a little bit of advice, Taurus, right off the bat with the Nine of Quills here. And of course, in this particular tarot deck, our artist very playfully toys with the traditional suits of the minor arcana, and the Nine of Quills is the equivalent of the Nine of Swords, which is a card of concern, worry, doubt, fears that are amplified in our anxious mind. There can be a kernel of truth at the root of the Nine of Swords, where there may be a reason or an origin story that your fear or doubt or anxiety is sort of attached to or birthed from. But the Nine of Swords always tells us that it has taken on a life of its own, and it's gone beyond reason, really. And so the advice inherent in this card is to find some ways to allay your fears, concerns, maybe by looking for signs and synchronicities in your world, maybe by trusting more in partners and loved ones, that your fears or anxieties have gotten perhaps a little out of control. Because we see some really lovely things in the other supporting cards in your tarot here. And the Nine of Swords tells us you're giving a little too much power to maybe some things that might be negative or might be stressful, but you're allowing them too much power in your mind and maybe in your heart or in your body. And so in May, you're being asked to let go of some of your anxieties and to regain some more emotional balance. And we see this first in the Ace of Teacups, which is, of course, the Ace of Cups. There's a new chapter opening in your sort of emotional life. Now, this could be a new chapter in terms of love. We see the artist here has put a little heart here. Hopefully you can see it above the teacup. And so that can speak to romantic endeavors. So any singletons out there, if you're looking for romantic love or taking a relationship, an existing relationship to the next level, that is potentially an option for you. But certainly any anxieties about that are going to get in the way of successes. You really have to approach your romantic life or any sort of emotional chapters or emotional, opening up to your emotional life with hope and with enthusiasm and with positivity in order for successes to be achieved, right? We hear those old chestnuts all the time. Like you have to love yourself first in order to find love and things like that. You're being asked to be hopeful and be positive and, if you're not looking for romantic love, this could be a new chapter in terms of your spirituality, in terms of emotional growth. If it's time to seek out a therapist in order to deal with some anxieties or stresses, that's also very well supported by this card. But in any case, it's a card that suggests that healing through your connections or emotional growth or spiritual growth is at hand, and a new beginning opens up in May. And this is echoed, but even more powerfully, with the Star card. Now, the Star card is another healing card, and it indicates not only a time of healing, but also a time of clarity, a time when perhaps you set aside more directly some of these anxieties or fears, and you make a choice as far as a direction or a choice in terms of life purpose, and that may settle some of these concerns or worries when you actually, make a decision. Also tied with the Star card can be a sense of gaining popularity. Sometimes for some folks, take this if it makes sense in your world, but especially for content creators or people who have the potential to be seen in the public eye. This could be a new level of visibility. Stars can be associated with publicity or being seen in the public. So there could be that element to this card as well. Now, here we have the Tower. This can be a breakthrough for you if you're ready for a change. This could be something of a stressor if you're not yet ready for change. But the Tower typically indicates that a change is coming. We have some planetary shifts happening. Uranus moving into Gemini is all the buzz right now, right? And so that could be indicative of some change in your life, depending on where it's happening, sort of in your own personal birth chart. And the thing is, sometimes we can be more or less ready for change. And the more welcoming we are to the change that needs to happen, the less dramatic it can be in our lives. When the Tower shows up, it tells us there's a change that really needs to happen. It can even be in an area of our lives that we've neglected or we're potentially procrastinating on making a fix in. And there's a tendency to be kind of a bit of armor or a wall that we've put around something that we may be reluctant to take down or burst out of. And what happens with the Tower card is, unless we kind of release ourselves from the Tower or climb down from the Tower ourselves, there can be a sort of dramatic storm that causes the Tower to crumble a little bit. So unless you want the universe to cause a little storm that helps you break down the wall, this can be a little reminder, this card, that there's something in your life that you need to change or fix or update or get rid of, leave entirely. This could be something as dramatic as a job or a living situation or even a relationship, or it could be something less dramatic, like you really need to get that oil change in the car, or maybe it's time to just really face your boss and ask for a raise that you deserve, or something along those lines. You probably know what it is in your life that you need to face, like a grown-up, and just take the lead, or stop procrastinating, or do this thing that you need to do for yourself, because there's some crumbly walls that are about to come down for your own good, in May anyway. So there you have it. There's some really lovely cards here in the Ace of Cups and Star, and the Tower can actually release you from something that's constricting or ill-fitting or broken down anyway. So you can reach out to friends or loved ones or a partner and look to the signs and symbols and trust yourself to let go of what no longer works and look forward to new beginnings. I hope that has been helpful, Taurus. I'm going to leave it there. Until next time, take good care. Bye for now. Hello, Gemini. Let's grab your rune. Oof. Hagalaz. Okay. And your Moonology manifestation card. Okay. Oh. Last quarter moon in Aquarius. Reflect on your priorities. Okay. And your tarot. Ooh. Okay. So starting with your rune, Hagalaz, this is the storm. Hagalaz in the traditional rune, in the traditional runes speaks to, it's like hail, which can be a little bit destructive. It can kind of seem like it comes out of nowhere, and it's cool and it's powerful to watch. But it can sometimes do a little damage. Like if you're a farmer, it can do a little damage to crops. Even for us in modern times, hail can do a little damage to like cars or other property. And it can be really trippy to be in the middle of it. But it's very brief and it's very rare. So, and it doesn't do tremendous damage, hail. This card, the artwork on this card looks like tremendously scary. This is a tremendous storm. But typically hail, you know, it is not that damaging. The rune does speak to a bit of an upheaval or a sort of a delay, a stop in the action. Like when hail happens, like we all have to stop and we have to take shelter for a few minutes and try to, you know, protect ourselves for a little bit. But again, it's very brief and it happens very quickly. And then there's maybe a little repair of the damage. There might be a little bit of loss, but then we get back on our feet and back to business. So this can speak to something like coming down with a cold or coming down with, you know, a sickness in a week when you have a big presentation or when it's inconvenient to be sick or ill. It can be something like that. Or, you know, dealing with a flat tire on the freeway or something like that. An inconvenience, a delay, something of an upheaval. It sounds really dramatic, but I have never experienced anything to the level that this the artwork of this card suggests. So the one thing we come to the tarot and oracle cards and rune cards and things are to get that little, I mean, the reason why we do these oracle readings and card readings and things is to have a little heads up. So now you have a little heads up that there might be a little blip. You might get a little hailstorm, a little something to look out for. So you have your heads up in this card. And another good thing about having a heads up like this is echoed over here in the reflect on your priorities. That way you can be focused on what you really want to get done in the week, or really how you want to arrange your week, if there might be a little bit of a blip, or if you might be coming down with a cold, how you want to arrange your week in case you do get ill, right? Reflect on your priorities. What's really important? What do I need to get done? What can we put off, until next week if, I have to deal with my car being in the shop this week or something like that. So there's that. Now, echoed in the tarot is this idea of a bit of a delay, or a risk, or a downtime. The Five of Biscuits in this deck, biscuits is related to the suit of Pentacles. The Five of Biscuits is like the Five of Pentacles. So we have a time when there might be low energy. For me, the Five of Pentacles is low resources. So again, this could indicate a time of being under the weather, or maybe not having enough funds for a project, or not maybe losing a staff member or something like that, and needing to hire someone on a temporary basis, or needing to wear a couple of hats until you get restaffed or something like that. It can indicate a time when, there's just not enough of something, right? Sometimes that not enough is a feeling. It could be even like feeling like you're not enough for a new job, maybe feeling like you're not getting enough income, or feeling left out in the cold from a friend situation or something like that. So take it as it resonates with you. But the thing is, when we look at the rest of your tarot, there's a way out. This is kind of, again, like hail. It's just a phase. And we see some other beautiful things happening in the rest of your tarot. So let's look at that. Over here we have the Queen of Teacups, which teacups are the suit of the same as the suit of cups in the traditional tarot. And the Queen of Cups is a very warm, loving, emotionally intelligent friend, colleague, boss even, could be a therapist, sister, someone who sees you, gets you, has great advice for you, may even have something to offer you, could spot you some funds if that's what you need in this Five of Biscuits or Five of Pentacles phase. Will definitely listen to any venting you have to do about what's going on in your life. But it could be a phase where she has something to build with you. This could be a collaborator. This could be a artistic comrade or something along those lines. Or it could just be someone who offers to take you out, treat you to a really delicious meal while you do your venting, or offers to cook for you as you're under the weather and makes you some really healing chicken soup or something along those lines. But your relationship with this person is likely to be, it doesn't have to be a female, by the way, but your relationship with this person is likely to be very healing, whatever they provide. Now, the next card is so cool because we have the Magician, which will have you feeling back to a powerful version of you, a manifesty version of you, right? The Magician is the manifesting version where you get to focus on what you want, using your skills, your talents, your contacts, bringing your vision into your world. So however that makes sense to you, it'll be different for different Gemini, right? So with this card, you have a plan, you have the drive, you have the contacts, and you have the belief that your skills will take you to the next level. There's that balance between the practical and the magical. So you do this sort of practical, real world steps to bring whatever that thing is into your world, while you're believing in the benevolent universe, where your thing, your project, your entrepreneurial endeavor, your relationship, whatever it is, can exist, evolve, land. You get the idea. All right. Finally, we have the moon. Now, the moon reminds us of a few things. First of all, that everything has a phase, everything has a season. So just as we spoke of in these kind of more challenging cards, that there might be a little blip, you might have a little momentary delay or a bit of disruptive moment that's just a phase. And following that, you can pick yourself up, dust yourself off, commiserate with a friend or colleague, collaborator, sister, boss, whatever, and then get back to making your magic, right? It was just a phase. But the other part about the moon is it can allow us to work on our visualization, because the moon is all about imagination, dreams. Sometimes there's a negative aspect to that. Sometimes there's the shadow side. Sometimes it reflects our fears and worries. So when the moon comes up, it's always best to use our intuition to navigate sort of the moon time, right? It's a time where there is a lack of clarity, and even things that would otherwise be familiar to us are a bit fuzzier. Like your own backyard, which is familiar to you in the daytime, can be full of shadows at night, right? So that's kind of like how I think of the moon. When the moon card comes up, it can be a time when we're more full of emotions, when we're not fully in our best decision making mode. It's best to plan, to imagine, to fantasize, but not a great time to make big, important decisions, make big assessments. So something near the end of the month might be fun to fantasize about or imagine, or a good time for creative work, or even psychotherapy or spiritual work, but probably not the best time to sign on the dotted line for buying a house or something like that. It's always best to make big decisions when the sun is out, as it were. So consider that when the moon card is in our reading, you might not be at your most decisive or discerning, but it's a great time for artistic endeavors or spiritual work. So there we have it, Gemini. I hope that is helpful. It's a very interesting reading, and we're getting some good, heads up, but also some lovely time with friends and some powerful time for manifestation and potentially spiritual work or emotional growth. I hope that is helpful. Until next time, take good care. Bye for now. Hey, Cancer, let's grab your rune. Berkana. Nice. Okay. And your Moonology manifestation card. Let's see. Ooh, okay. Full moon in Aries. Cool your emotions. And your tarot. Okay. Ooh. 7 of quills, 6 of quills, 5 of quills. That is a lot of swords. In this, and the Knight of Candles. Okay. So in this tarot deck, the Cottage Magic Tarot, the author, illustrator, plays with the minor arcana suits. And so quills are swords and candles are wands. But let's back up and let's look at your rune first. I love this one. Berkana is all about new beginnings. You can see that in the artwork of this card. We have someone who's moving into a new place. So this person is getting a new start, a fresh new start. Berkana also speaks kind of to nurturing. The bee looking rune, this actually is supposed to be, oh, how can I say it? Because I don't know, I don't want to offend anyone, but I also don't want to get in trouble with YouTube, right? But this speaks to the part of the female anatomy that nurtures newborn babies, right? So this rune actually speaks to nurturing. And so if there's something in your, oh, that's very Cancerian too, isn't it? That part of the female anatomy is associated with the sign of Cancer. So I guess that's kind of like your rune, isn't it? But in any case, so we're talking about, nurturing and supporting and new beginnings. So if there's something in May that you want to launch or get started, that's very much supported with this rune. Now, on the other hand, well, actually kind of unrelatedly, we have cool your emotions. So there's the advice over here in your Moonology manifestation card not to get too hot and bothered about anything. It's interesting because your main theme card here is the Knight of Candles or the Knight of Wands. Now, the Knight of Wands can get a little bit hot and bothered. He can, if of anyone in the tarot, this particular character could fly off the handle and could have a temper tantrum. So there's the little warning here not to get too fiery, right? But you are supported in following new passions and going after what you want, whether it's creative, athletic, if there's some passion related to a career ambition or just another project that really sparks your interest, whatever it is, you're encouraged to go for it. Ooh, and this candle just went out. That's interesting. That's really interesting. So, we're just talking about not being too fiery, and this candle just goes out. But in any case, so whether, you know, okay, so sorry. So, not only are you encouraged to go after what you want in this Knight of Wands, but you may receive a messenger or an invitation via a messenger that requires your action. That can also happen with the Knight of Wands. So that would be something like an invitation to interview for a job, or an invitation to audition for something you want to be a part of, something along those lines, and that may require your action on that part. So that's really cool. And this would be absolutely a yes card. Go for it. Do it. We have new beginnings over here supported. Now let's look at the supporting cards here. 7 of Quills. Some tarot readers see the 7 of Swords, which is what this equates with, as a kind of a sneaky card. But for me, this card is very much about being in the right place at the right time with the right information. Often our main character in this card is doing something tricky or unusual, but for a good reason. Often they have like some insider information that allows them to get a jump on the competition, or a scoop on the competition. So it could be the kind of thing like you get your resume in for a position that you hear about because you have a friend in HR or something that tells you about a job before it's publicly listed or something. Could be something like that. There's a piece here always with the quills or the swords about writing, information, social media. And so you may be involved somehow with getting your message out via social media, or news out via social media, sharing your philosophy or thoughts, or something you share online, or that way that you jump on a trend and something you post goes viral or something like that. But usually this is like a sort of a victory for you, because you jump in on something quickly. So have your resume ready, or be ready with your content, be ready to post your content quickly, and that can lead to a victory. And we also have here, moving on to calmer waters in the 6 of Quills or 6 of Swords. This is moving beyond chaos or conflict, or being able to make a decision, having the information you need to move forward. So usually this happens after maybe being stalled or not having enough information, and finally being able to clear the sort of clutter or chaos and being able to move forward. So it could even be following this, whatever you've done over here, to maybe you reach out to someone you need to have a conversation with, or because you get this job interview, you're able to get a position that allows you to get that apartment you wanted, or move to a part of the country you wanted to go to, or even an application to college that allows you to make a decision to move forward, something along those lines. It doesn't have to be that dramatic, but something you jump on over here allows you to clear the air and move forward. Now, there is a little bit of a heads up in the Five of Quills, because that does indicate a little bit of misinformation or not enough information over here. So it looks like you're trading in a lot of information over here, and then something happens where you don't have quite enough by the end of the month. So don't fret if there is a moment here where you're not quite sure how to move forward. You don't have to make a decision if you don't have the right information or the information you need to move forward. Ask more questions, reach out, follow up, or just, put a decision on the back burner. Only move forward on the things that you have enough information on to move forward with, and don't make a decision or don't move forward on the things that you don't have enough information with. So this could even be the thing where you have 2 yeses and a not yet in the month of May in terms of your new beginnings. And then I would just say there's the reminder here of not to be mad at anyone, including yourself, about whatever this is. This just seems to be a lack of information or incorrect information with more to be seen. This doesn't mean like you have missed out. It's just a lack of correct information, which can be remedied. Okay? But other than that, it looks like a really, it's a lot already. So, the fact that this thing isn't quite ripe yet isn't a loss. There's still plenty of time to get what you need in order to fix this conversation or this situation or whatever this one is. But it looks like a really exciting month for you, Cancer. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. I hope this has been helpful. Until next time, take good care. Bye for now. Hey Leo, let's grab your rune. Manaz. Okay. Looks like a little summer music festival there. And your Moonology manifestation card. Okay, last quarter moon in Pisces, talk less, feel more. You are so far the third sign to get this one, so I guess that is a theme, a collective theme. Let's grab your tarot. Ooh. Ooh. Wow. Okay. That's wild. Okay. So Leo, Manaz is all about the self in relationship to community. So you can see in the artwork of this card, it looks like a music festival or a concert, right? And we have not really a central character, but we have a couple together. This isn't necessarily about, you know, romantic coupling so much as it is about an awareness of humanity, the self as a part of greater community, kind of being aware of your own person, your own boundaries, where you sort of end and another person begins, what you owe to the community, what the sort of community might owe you, playing a part of a larger community, being a part of a society, and what your obligations to a society might be, sort of the duties of humanity. So there are elements of identity, but also altruism and contribution, your own sort of contribution. Now, for our Moonology card, we have Talk Less, Feel More. I think that goes along well with the Manaz rune in that, you know, sometimes when we're really feeling aligned with like our own purpose, we don't need to check in, we don't need to validate or ask for validation from partners, from community. We can enjoy being at peace. We can be looking and listening for signs and symbols from the universe, as it were. We can find our validation or our peace in meditation rather than from, I don't know, posting in social media or from, you know, other distractions, right? So there's already between your rune and your oracle card here this sense of, you know, clarity of purpose, clarity of identity and alignment that allows for a sense of peace. And I think that's showing up in your tarot here as well. Now, the theme card here is speaking to a little bit of stagnation, an awareness of maybe being stuck to an old way of being or an old way of knowing yourself. And I think what we're getting at here in May is finally accepting or looking at a pathway out of this sort of stagnation. The Four of Biscuits, which aligns with the Four of Pentacles in the traditional tarot, is kind of about being stuck to security in a way that can be a little bit stuck in a rut, actually. Sometimes we can be holding on so closely to security that we become rigid. We can be keeping the best bits of ourselves stifled, actually. And the surrounding cards here are suggesting a need to become unrigid, to sort of blossom a little bit more. You can see it directly in the art, right? She's the central character in the Four of Biscuits or the Four of Pentacles is guarded, is closed off. And then we have the Empress. And look at how luscious she is. She is open, she is fertile, she's wearing a crown, she is ready for any invitation that comes along. She is relaxed. So I think there's a real call here for you to let go of an old way of being. This could even be a job that is no longer suited. This could be, take it as it resonates for you. This could come in a number of different ways. There could also be some talents or skills that you've been keeping to yourself, not sharing with others, or not sharing on a wide enough scale, that really need to be released. The Empress is a very creative type. And so the fact that she's showing up here suggests it's time to nurture a creative project or skill or share it more widely. Or it could be about accepting invitations to work creatively or to collaborate creatively. It could even be about accepting romantic invitations, that sort of thing. Take it as it resonates for you. But there's a real vibe here of being open to share more of yourself, your talents, your skills, especially your creative side, right? And in the Fool, we have a go for it, try something new, take the path untrodden. There's really a support here in maybe going back to school, changing your major, leaving your job, asking for a job in a new department or something along those lines. The Fool is a clean slate, fresh break, absolutely, new direction. There's also with the Fool the support in trying something, even if it means looking a little silly, maybe if it means you haven't yet practiced that, you don't have a skill set there yet, looking a little bit unpolished, as it were, and not being afraid, not being embarrassed, being willing to learn something new, go somewhere new, have an adventure, that sort of thing. At the end of the month, we see a celebration here. This is the Three of Teacups, which is related to the Three of Cups in the traditional tarot, right? And maybe it's a party with your friends, maybe it's a party with colleagues or artistic collaborators after a launch of some kind, but it's associated with some sort of harvest or victory, or just potentially a celebration of, just good times with good people, right? But in any case, it comes after opening up. I mean, you can see the difference in the body language in these two cards, right? Look how open the characters in the Three of Teacups are as compared to our main character energy here in the Four of Biscuits. So, Leo, you are encouraged to step out of what you have known, even if it has been provided you security. It's time to bust out and be the Empress, to try something new or take a new path, go in a new direction, and that's where your victories lie. Yeah. So I'm going to leave it there for you, Leo. I hope this has been helpful. Until next time, take very good care. Bye for now. Hello, Virgo. Let's grab your rune. Let's see. Ooh, Pertha. Okay, and your Moonology manifestation card. Ooh, cool, your emotions. Full moon in Aries. And your tarot. Okay. Virgo, let's start with your cool rune. It is Pertho, which is the rune of mystery. So there are a couple of, oops, this candle just went out. Mysterious. So there are a couple of traditional ways this rune can be interpreted. One is that it's associated with dice and gambling. So there can be a piece here about gaming and taking chances, taking risks. Sometimes they say, you know, don't take any chances, don't take any risks when this comes up. Sometimes the opposite is the interpretation. It means that it's a time to take a chance or take a risk. But the other way this rune can be interpreted is as the rune of mystery. That it's the rune of like secrets and sexuality. There was a time when if this would come up, we just some readers wouldn't even interpret it at all because it was the rune of secrets. So it meant if it came up like this wasn't a time to do any divination. I don't I don't cotton to that. So for me, this is the rune of the potential for secrets to be revealed. So if there's anything in your life that you're holding back or withholding from anyone, it would be a good time to be truthful or forthcoming, because, you know, just karma-wise, you know, sometimes secrets can get in the way of things. Or it could be the sort of thing where a secret that had been withheld from you could be revealed, like the sort of thing like you find out at work that, you know, a boss and a colleague were hooking up and it was against policy and they were both fired, and it's scandalous and it's crazy and it causes a bunch of upheaval, and then there's a whole staffing thing and it's all weird and crazy. That could be a thing that happens under the whole secrets are revealed part of Pertho. So I'm not saying I'm not interpreting that for you necessarily, but I'm just using that as an example of how secrets can be revealed under the influence of this. But another thing that, another way that the secrets can be revealed is we see in the artwork of this fella, it could be in the kind of secrets are revealed that like in meditation, in a moment of quiet contemplation, or maybe on like a nature hike, you have like an epiphany about, gosh, I really hate my job and I want to go back to school to be a chef instead of an accountant or something like that. It could be that kind of a mystery it could be a spiritual secret, sort of a spiritual mystery is revealed or something along those lines. So because it is the rune of like mysteries and secrets, it's a one that has like more open-ended interpretation. So I can't give you like the clearest interpretation. It could really go a number of different ways for different Virgos. So extrapolate on how that might show up in your world. But I would just say, be honest with yourself and others when this comes up. It might be a good time to take a risk, especially if you've been ruminating or had an illumination about your life's trajectory or purpose. It might be a good time to take a risk, or it might be that a secret is revealed to you that causes some change around you. So that's Pertho. Now, over here in your Moonology manifestation, we have cool your emotions. So if there's something that's been causing you anger, frustration, there's the call here to regulate, to get on top of your anger or frustration, to bring it more into under your control. So take that as it resonates for you. Now, your tarot is very interesting. We have as the main theme the Seven of Quills. Some tarot readers read the Seven of Quills or the Seven of Swords. Our artist of this deck has tweaked the suits a little bit. The Seven of Swords is, in my experience, a sort of positive card all about strategy. Some tarot readers read this card as being kind of sneaky, but it's really about being smarter than the next guy, right? In the traditional tarot, we see this central character making away with some swords. Swords, for me and many tarot readers, are ideas or thoughts or sort of communications, representations of ideas or communications. So this is often kind of getting the jump on getting a resume in to an HR director kind of ahead of your competition, or getting a social media post out early on the wave of a sort of trend, and maybe your social media goes viral, something along those lines, where something you do or submit or share or post, an idea you have or something you've written or crafted in some way hits a theme or hits a need that someone has, and you get the job, or your post goes viral or something along those lines. It's or you make the sale, you make the commission, or you get the byline. I don't even know if bylines are a thing that happen anymore, but something along those lines. So you have the idea that hits the mark, and you get it in, or you submit it, or whatever it is, before your competition does. So it's a victory card, really. And the other thing about the Seven of Swords is, in the traditional, or at least in the Rider-Waite Smith version of the tarot, cards with a yellow background are victory cards. They're positive cards. So we know that this is a victorious step that you make. Whatever you do in this strategizing or this idea production, this idea submission you make, it is a victory on your behalf. But interestingly, we have some other cards here that suggest you're not feeling like a victor, or you're not sure of having made the right move here. Now, with the Four of Teacups, which correlates to the Four of Cups, of course, we see a central figure who is feeling a little bit bored or annoyed, maybe a little stagnant. And it suggests that perhaps you want more out of life and you're feeling unsatisfied, but there's about to be an offer for you. If it hasn't already been made, it exists very nearby. You can see in the artwork, obviously, there is a cup that's headed right for the central character. Right, it's, right out of the blue. It's ready for you. Something that could be very satisfying that the central character doesn't immediately recognize. You could turn a little bit around to see this offer. And I think there's something like that in your world, is what this card suggests. It may already exist, or it is on its way to you. Something that could be fulfilling but doesn't look to you like you thought it would look, or it doesn't come with the bells and whistles that you were expecting or the fanfare that you were expecting. But if you give it a try, or give it a sip, as it were, I think you'll find it's tastier than you were expecting. Now, with the Eight of Swords, which is the equivalent of the Eight of Quills here, we see a character who seems unhappy, sort of loosely bound, sort of loosely imprisoned in these quills. As I mentioned with the Seven of Quills, the Eight of Quills is like being surrounded by ideas or thoughts or opinions, but it's kind of like being trapped by these thoughts. And the Eight of Swords often speaks to fears or worries or doubts about our own worthiness. There's a piece of that imposter syndrome with the Eight of Swords. You're being called in this card to drop the sort of loose bonds here and to walk away from these ridiculous swords that aren't really true. These fears or these doubts are just amplified in your mind. Maybe they were something that your high school bully used to say to you, or maybe a critical parent, but for whatever reason, these things aren't really keeping you trapped in a real way. They're just fears that you can walk away from by choice. This card comes up for a lot of us when we are facing like a new level of success. So as you reach into this new level, this new victory, one of the sort of gifts you get is, simultaneously facing down these old sort of critiques, right? And finally, we have the Seven of Biscuits, or the Seven of Pentacles. The Seven of Biscuits is a time when we're looking at the harvest, which is right around the corner. Sorry, I had to stop filming so I could put a fresh candle in there because that was driving me bananas. Okay. Finally, we have the Seven of Biscuits, which is the equivalent of the Seven of Pentacles. Now, this is all about that sort of reassessment in the final phase right before the harvest, the metaphorical harvest, right? Because we're always talking about metaphors with tarot. Now, this can mean a couple of things. Sometimes the reassessment is, did I make the right choice? Am I on the right path? Do I even want to be farming this product metaphorically? Is it done? Is it time? Should I be harvesting now? Should I wait another week? I grew up very close to farm country. I'm just on kind of the edge from outskirts of a suburb to right next to farm country. And so I saw, farmers making those kinds of decisions all the time. And the decision of like when to harvest, when time is ripe, there's a special kind of magic to it, right? And that's true in our own lives. Like, when do we pull the trigger on something? Like, if you've been pursuing an artistic career and it's not going the way you want, like, at what point do you go, I'm giving up on Hollywood and I'm moving back to Kansas and I'm going to become an accountant, you know? Or something like, is it time to go to college or change my major? Or is it time to retire? Or do I need to work another 5 years or whatever it is? You know, there are just times in our lives when we make those, we have to assess or reassess. Is the time, is the timing right now? Or do I need to wait a little bit longer? Do I need to add more fertilizer? You know, so this is kind of what the Seven of Pentacles is getting to. And sometimes there's a project in our life where it just needs more time for this sort of Mother Nature to do her thing in the fields, right? Sometimes a project just needs more time. So there could be a project or a career goal or even a relationship that just needs more time. And it's not quite ready for harvest, or maybe it needs a little more nurturing or fertilizer or something like that. There could be a reassessment near the end of the month where you have to look at your project, your career, something, and make a decision. Is it time to launch? Does it need more time? Something. The fact that this card comes up suggests you're close to a harvest, but it's not yet ready. And even if you're feeling like it's time to pull the plug, this card suggests you're close to a harvest. It just needs more time, if that's helpful to you. So just as a quick review, we have the rune of mysteries or secrets, or possibly taking a chance. We have cool your emotions, so just regulation, self-regulation, right? The Seven of Quills is about sharing your ideas or submitting a resume or writing something down, possibly even reaching out to somebody with an apology or information, something like that. There's likely to be an offer that is more fulfilling, right within reach, if not on offer this in the next week. Please walk away from those doubts or fears or insecurity, the imposter syndrome. It is not a good look for you, and it's not accurate. And finally, if a project feels like it's not ready, don't give up. It's just a timing thing. So there you go, Virgo. I hope that is helpful. I'm going to leave it there for you. Thank you so much for joining me. Until next time, bye for now. Hello, Libra. Let's grab your rune for May. Ooh, Ingwas. Oh boy, I always have a hard time with that one. We'll get to that in just a second. Let us grab your Moonology manifestation card. Ooh, talk less, feel more. Okay, so you are the fourth sign that got that one. So that one's kind of a community card. And now, your tarot. Ooh. Okay, cool. All right. So here's where I struggle with your rune. Just because it's a super cool one. It's just, how do I talk about it without offending anyone or YouTube's purity guidelines, modesty guidelines? So this is about Ingwas, is the rune about a release. Now, if you can extrapolate looking at the artwork, one way to interpret this would be like a physical release of an expression of intimate delight. How about that? And some have said that the rune itself, because sometimes it looks like this, but sometimes it just looks like that little diamond, just the diamond without the other bits. Sometimes it has been suggested that the little diamond in there refers to a very specific part of the female anatomy. And that's why it can be associated with a very particular physical release, or even a sense of relief, if you will. But with that said, it's a positive flow of pressure being released. So it's associated with a positive sensation. So there's the sense here of also like a freedom from constriction, that sense. Ending of stress. Now, it doesn't have to just be for females, obviously, but it speaks to like that positive ending, that positive release, or the release of pressure, and like a happy ending. Okay, so let's leave that there and see what else we can dig out of this reading. Now, relatedly, in a sense, relatedly, we have the last quarter moon in Pisces, talk less, feel more. Now, this can be feel more in your body, but this, I think, really speaks more to the emotional sense of feeling, or even the spiritual sense of feeling, really. Whereas this can speak to physical feeling, it can speak to emotional feeling, it can speak to literal endings, like a literal ending of pleasure, a literal ending of something that has been pressure. So like at the ending of a school year can feel like a relief, right? It could be something like that. It can feel like when you've finally taken your last final, it can be something like that. So that can feel, at the end of the school year, taking your last final can feel like such a relief. You feel it in your body, you feel it in your mind, you feel it in your soul, you feel it everywhere, right? Or like the end of or when you finally launch a project you have been working on for, months, something like that. Now, this is not that kind of feeling. Talk less, feel more is kind of about less checking in with someone verbally, not needing validation on social media. It's tuning in with your heart, tuning in with your senses, looking for signs and symbols from a benevolent universe, right? It's feeling more. It's being more in tune with your emotional body and your spiritual body. It's like that. So there we have those, Libra. Lovely. Now, as far as your tarot goes, we have the Three of Candles, which is associated with the Three of Wands in the sort of traditional tarot. And that speaks to sort of a next plateau in your passions or your ambition or something you're excited about. It can be an athletic goal. It can be a creative goal. It can be in your career trajectory. Take it as it resonates for you. But something you're looking forward to, something you've put like your blood, sweat, and tears into, something you've put sort of your name, like your legacy into, that hits like the next level, and you're looking for the return on that investment. You're seeing the return on that investment. You're seeing validation. So even though we've got the don't worry about validation, you're getting validation anyway because you've worked for it and now you're receiving it. It's like the fair energy exchange on your effort for what you've put your heart into. So for creative types, maybe this is the validation or more followers online, or you book a gig or something along those lines. For athletes, this is being invited to be on the team or, hitting personal milestones. I'm not much of an athlete, so I don't know what the success would look like on that end. But definitely wands, or candles in this case, are associated with athleticism, creativity, career goals, anything that you put effort into, anything you're sparked by, right? We see success and excitement here, and improvement, next level, up leveling. Now, looking at your supporting cards here in May, Knight of Teacups, or the Knight of Cups, suggests an invitation coming for you. This could be a romantic invitation, but it could also be an invitation to collaborate, an invitation to a team endeavor. Take it as it makes sense in your world. We also have the Page of Cups here, which is an opportunity for you to learn some more in the area that excites you. This could be something like, again, for actors or creative types, this could be something like taking a class, an improv class, or a jazz fusion class with a really renowned musician. For athletes, it could be the opportunity to work with a really great coach one-on-one or something like that. So take it as it resonates for you, even if you're not an actor or an athlete. Something that excites you is opening up some channel of learning or connecting with a new group or groups for you that allows you to express your passion and explore new ways to grow and learn and evolve. Now, finally, we have the Justice card, which is always associated with Libra. That's one of your cards. And it can have to do with creating more balance in your life as you're reaching new plateaus and being invited to collaborate and learn more. But for me, justice also tends to come with a contract or a connection. So if this invitation over here is an invitation to a job interview, we could have by the end of the month a new gig or contract in that way. I always remind folks when the justice card comes up that be sure whenever you sign something, you know what you're signing, you're agreeing to what you think you're agreeing to. Whenever you make a commitment with a potential friend or family member, you get it in writing. So if you are potentially looking at going into business or collaborating with a friend or family member, make sure you get some sort of written contract and you spell out everybody's obligation so that it is fair and legal and well balanced. But this looks like a really exciting, really lovely, really Libra kind of month, and I am pumped for you. Congratulations. I think you're really going to enjoy it. I'm going to leave it there for you, Libra. Thank you so much for joining me. Until next time, take very good care. Bye for now. Hey, Scorpio. Let's grab your May rune. Fehu. Nice one. Okay, let's grab your Moonology manifestation card for May. All right. This has come out for 5 of 7 of the readings. So this is officially the community Moonology manifestation card. Talk less, feel more. We are almost all of us are getting this one. All right, let's grab your tarot for May. Okay. Oh, nice. All right. Okay. So we have to love your rune. Fehu is the wealth rune. It is the acquired wealth, the acquired money rune. So it's like cattle is the traditional interpretation, or it's what it meant to the Old Norse, right? So that meant that's what they had. Stuff. So this is about your stuff, your sort of power in the sense that having resources gives you power. Not necessarily your muscle strength, but like the power that having wealth gives you. So when this rune comes up, it suggests that money could be coming in, or like a job opportunity could be coming in, entrepreneurial endeavor or endeavors could be picking up. You could be getting more clients, more commissions, that sort of thing, more gigs, a pay rise, a better contract, that sort of thing. So congratulations. Or it could also be that this is just a fertile time for you to ask for a raise, launch your entrepreneurial endeavor, or deal with your investments. I am not a financial planner, so I cannot give financial advice. Don't take financial advice from me. But if you are good with investments, this would be a time to, sort of manage your portfolio. So I'm going to leave that there and move on to what has become essentially our community manifestation card, Talk Less, Feel More. So the way I'm interpreting this more and more often is this is about seeking less external validation from sources like social media and checking in with our friends, and trusting more in our own emotional body, or in signs and synchronicities that we sense through, meditation, or being able to trust in a benevolent universe, right? This is our emotional intelligence and our spiritual intelligence. So if you haven't yet made it a good or standard practice to meditate, and that doesn't necessarily mean the kind where you sit in the lotus position, and turn off your brain for 45 minutes while listening to twinkly music. You might be the sort of person that meditates while taking a stroll through some trees or something like that. You could be the kind of person that meditates in a swimming pool or a lake or something like that. So take that as it resonates for you, but just, it's the kind of thing where unplugging from the grid, as it were, and tuning into yourself, or tuning into a higher power or Mother Nature, is what this is speaking to. So there's your permission slip for talking less, feeling more. All right, on to the tarot. Three of Teacups. What a great theme card for May, you lucky duck. Obviously, this tarot artist, illustrator, author, toys with the suit names a little bit here. So we have in the teacups, obviously that relates to the cups in the traditional tarot. The quills are related to swords, the candles are related to wands, and the biscuits are related to pentacles. So here in your main theme card, we have the Three of Teacups, which is the Three of Cups, which is a celebration card, which is getting together with some of your favorite people, your friends or family, and or colleagues, co-workers, collaborators, cohorts, and celebrating a win or a launch or a successful show, or maybe even just good times with good people. To me, this looks a little bit like with the other stuff you have going on, it could be a victory, like a work victory or a career, a special project victory. With Fehu over here, which can be related to your work, career, entrepreneurial endeavor kind of thing. I wonder if this is some sort of collaborative victory here. But, take it as it resonates for you. Maybe your sister is getting married, and this could be something along those lines. But traditionally, the Three of Cups is associated with a little bit of a harvest. So something good comes in and you get to celebrate with loved ones. Now, around this, supporting this, is the Seven of Swords, which is another kind of victory card. This comes up for me as a strategy, and again, often associated with your work or practical life. The Seven of Swords indicates a time when you submit something of your writing or branding, marketing, something along those lines. Swords are associated with your thoughts, ideas, communications, philosophies. So you're submitting something that represents your thoughts or your brand. And it could be like submitting a resume or something along those lines, or a marketing material for maybe a con, like a what do you call this? Like a show where you're showing your wares or marketing your widgets or whatever you make or craft, or coach, something along those lines. And it could be the sort of thing where you have the better material, better than your competition, or you get your resume in before the rest of the competition, and your resume is so good that they don't even bother posting the job. They just bring you in, and you're such a good fit that you get the job immediately. It could be that sort of a situation. Take it as it resonates for you, but something along those lines, and your excellent strategy, your excellent marketing or resume is received well, and there's some victory here in that. Then we have the Knight of Pentacles with this augurs some sort of movement, slow and steady, following this victory. So whatever you have done over here, you're planting the seeds to make this grow. And moving forward, again, this looks kind of like a job or an entrepreneurial endeavor, possibly some investments or property. Pentacles are associated with, your practical life, job, career, home, security, banking, something along those lines. But most often I see it with, the sort of legacy of your job or career. So it could be something along those lines, or like I said, entrepreneurial endeavor. Just kind of next steps, but it's slow and steady. This isn't crazy stuff. This isn't zigging and zagging and making, crazy leaps. This is doing the next logical, steady, sane, progress. It's smart planning, and you'll notice even in the artwork, the color is coordinated. Like these two characters are pretty much in the same world, and she's just kind of taken the next logical step, right? Now over here we have the Page of Wands. Now this is where, after the seed is planted, as it were, we have some dreaming, we have some visualizing, we have some creative thinking going on. So she's in kind of a different stage than these two are. She's doing some kind of creative visualization. Wands tend to do the creative work. So feel free to let your mind imagine the big picture while the crops are taking seed or taking hold in the soil, as it were. These are all metaphors, right? But in the next phase, it looks like you're going to be learning how to make your kind of imagination or your visions more practical. But after you kind of take these practical steps, there will be time for creativity or visualization or kind of dreaming the more fun parts, or having a more creative couple of weeks, after doing the practical stuff. So Scorpio, all in all, it looks like a productive, fun, and creative May for you. I'm going to leave it there. I hope this has been helpful. Thank you so much for joining me. Until next time, take good care. Bye for now. Hey Sagittarius, let's grab your May rune. Othala. Okay, and your Moonology manifestation card. Let's see. Ooh. Full moon in Gemini. Embrace the flow of life. Okay. Now, let's grab your tarot. Okay. Ooh. Okay. Okay, interesting. There's a lot about choices here. There's a lot about choices and clarity. Okay. So first, Othala. This is the rune of legacy. So that can be about a few different things. Sometimes legacy is about stuff, right? Like actually inheriting stuff from family members, like through wills, or, just being passed down because a family member is done with it. I inherited my first car from my grandfather's brother. He was just kind of done with it. It was an old Volare. He wasn't dead. He was just done with it. But obviously we can inherit things from family members through wills. We can inherit money or property. Sometimes we inherit a thing like the family business when it's time for a family member, like a parent, to retire. Sometimes we're going to inherit like the family restaurant or the family, hardware store or something. So that's one way Othala can show up. Sometimes we inherit family traits like red hair or anger management issues or alcoholism or heart disease. Obviously, sometimes we don't always get great stuff. Sometimes the way Othala shows up, though, isn't about inheriting stuff from family members. Sometimes Othala is about our legacy in terms of how we think our name matters, like our name legacy, our namesake. Sometimes our namesake in terms of our children or our father or, the family name. Sometimes our legacy in terms of our career, like have we done enough in our career? The career choices we make, whether it's time to retire, that sort of thing. So there's a few ways, obviously, Othala could be showing up for you, Sagittarius. Take it as it resonates for you. Are you thinking about, maybe giving something to a family member? Have you just inherited something from a family member? Are you helping maybe your parents retire and taking over the family restaurant? Or maybe you're just thinking, maybe you're a single person and you're just thinking about where you are career-wise, and is it enough? Is it time to change? Time for a new direction? Take it as it resonates for you. The Moonology manifestation card we have for you is Full Moon in Gemini. Embrace the flow of life. So I'm wondering if, it's going to be different, of course, for different Sagittarians, but I'm wondering if there's questions about your direction, about where to go next. Now, because you're being advised to embrace the flow of life. Luckily, we have the Queen of Quills, which is the same as the Queen of Swords. The author of this deck, Cottage Magic Tarot, plays with the major arcana, or the minor arcana suits. And quills are the same as swords. Teacups are the same as cups, obviously. So the Queen of Swords, as your theme card, is all about issues of feeling in your authority about the choices you're making, and the clarity of where you're going moving forward, communicating your needs, being clear and concise, as well as being diplomatic about your needs. Not needing to be a jerk or a Karen about your needs, but being able to communicate what you need clearly and diplomatically. This queen excels at being direct but diplomatic, right? And so the fact that she's showing up for you suggests that there is both a need and the ability to be clear and concise this month. So for whatever reason, you're going to be able to communicate what you need, maybe negotiate some contracts or negotiate some of your relationships if you need something new. It looks like you do have some tough choices to make, or you may be torn between some options you have. The Seven of Teacups suggests that. That's often a card of feeling like you have a few options, a few different ways to go, maybe being torn between a few things. The thing with the Seven of Teacups is that even though there seem to be a number of options, there aren't all great options. There aren't all perfect options. So you may want to explore a few avenues, knowing that there aren't all delicious options for you. And it may be that you decide not yet or not now, or it could be the kind of thing where you allow yourself, give yourself a deadline to make a decision. But in any case, you do want to make sure that your heart and your head are in alignment before you make a final call, right? But there is sometimes with the Seven of Teacups an invitation to play and to try, to improvise, to be wrong. So there isn't one perfect solution for you. There might be 2 or 3 good options for you, and you'll just might have to decide between 2 or 3 fairly good options. So I'm going to leave that there and point out the Eight of Swords, which has come up a few times for some other readings today, which is that kind of imposter syndrome card. You can see in the artwork here, our central character is loosely bound and then kind of surrounded by these almost comically giant quills here, which represent fears or worries or concerns or doubts. And these quills are lies. They're lies that our central character is telling herself about herself, that's keeping her kind of bound or trapped in this place that she doesn't need to be, this place that she's not happy being. And so this often comes up when we're ready to sort of make an up-leveling or grow or expand, but we're holding ourselves back with this imposter syndrome. And it encourages us to let go of these critical inner voices. They may be things like the high school bully said to us, or fears we had about ourselves, how we looked, our abilities, whatever it is. We're being called in this card to release ourselves from these fears or self-doubts so that we can move on with strength and self-love to the next phase of our own success. Finally, we have the Hierophant, which just goes to prove, our own talents. This is a card of expertise, of knowledge, wisdom, and a wisdom that is available on display in, that needs to be shared. The Hierophant is an expert. So this may well be you, Sagittarius. Or this can be a call for you to join a field as an expert, take a role in a community as an expert. So it could be something like, hanging up a shingle as an expert. This could be going back to school, getting a degree, or getting your next level degree. So if you already have a BA, getting your master's, obviously. This could be teaching. This could be sharing your knowledge as a teacher, joining a community. And in some cases, though, this is also, now take this as it resonates for you. This can also be about seeking out an expert. Like if you have a car issue, or maybe an issue around the house, like your garbage disposal is broken or something, get an expert to fix it, and not like your brother-in-law's kid or something like that. I guess that would be your nephew. But in any case, this can be the card of seeking out an expert instead of a DIY situation. So the point with the Hierophant is that it supports either acknowledging your own expertise, supporting continuing education, and furthering your own expertise, or joining communities where you can share your expertise with others or learn with others. I think it's a really cool reading, Sagittarius. Yeah, so just a quick review. Inheritance or legacy, clarity, communication, diplomacy, choices, letting go of imposter syndrome, expertise, education, higher consciousness, embrace the flow of life. Let's leave it there. I hope you enjoyed this reading, Sagittarius. I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for joining me. Until next time, take very good care. Bye for now. Hello, Capricorn. Let's grab your May rune. Ooh, Berkana. Oops, there we go. And your Moonology manifestation card. Oh my goodness. This has come up for about 6 signs now. This is essentially the community Moonology card. My intention was for everybody to get a different one, right? But Spirit, I guess, wants all of us to have this one. All right, let's get your May Tarot. Okay. Oh. Okay. That is a lot of fire for you, Capricorn. So in this tarot deck, the Cottage Magic Tarot, the author illustrator switched up the names of the minor arcana suits. So the candles are the same as the wands in the traditional tarot. So you have 3 wands cards. That's a lot of fire for you. But then temperance is about balance, so that's helpful. But let's start with your rune, which is Bracana. We love Bracana. Bracana is the card of new beginnings. So anything you want to start is supported this month. This is, if you're looking to start a new job or obviously a new place to live, as illustrated here in this card, or if you want to start a new creative project or go back to school or start school, anything like that. Any fresh new beginning is supported under this card. Also, anything you need to nurture that has already started, even if you've already begun a creative project, say you've already started a novel and you've been working on it a while, but nurturing that, going back and editing it would be, sort of considered nurturing it. That would be supported, under this rune. So anything that needs sort of taking care of, giving birth to, new beginnings, that feeling, that's what this rune is all about. And then with our Moonology manifestation card, talk less, feel more. So this is about letting go of the need for constant conversation, distractions, social media, that sort of thing, constant validation, and being open to your emotional body, your spiritual body. This is about looking for signs and synchronicities from the universe. Meditation, whether you're the kind that can sit on the floor in the lotus position and still your mind, or if you're the kind that needs to get out and have a brisk stroll through the woods, or you're the kind that needs to swim in the pond, or not a pond, but a pool. And that's where you get your meditation, by doing laps, sort of thing. That's valid, right? Any place where you can kind of tune out distractions and get in touch with sort of your own self or your kind of spiritual side. That's what this encourages. So, with those said, let's look at the tarot. So the 10 of Candles, or the 10 of Wands, suggests kind of the end of a cycle, which leaves space for the beginning of a new cycle. And often the 10 of Wands indicates maybe the end of something creative, or the end of something possibly physically taxing, something that took a lot of energy. This could even be something like if you were part of a marathon training program, as far as the energy taxing piece. I once trained for a marathon to earn money for a charity, and I am not an athlete, but I did it, for this charity, basically, and it was very challenging. I was very proud of myself when it was over, and I raised a good deal of money for this charity because I'm so not an athlete. But it was a lot, and I was very glad when it was over. So it could be something along those lines. But it could also be something like finally reaching a launch date and being able to launch a product, or the end of a school year, being able to close out the school year. There's very likely to be sort of cleanup duty, or a physically sort of taxing component to whatever you're closing out. You're near the end of the cycle. You'll be glad when it's over. You'll probably be proud of yourself. And there may be a part of it that has to do with your ambition, your career, your legacy, your, again, your passions, or your creative goals. But once it's over, you'll be glad, proud of yourself, and there will be more time or space in your life for another endeavor, or maybe it'll be time to retire. But with that said, let's look at some of these other supporting cards. We also have the Knight of Candles, which is another like go after your creative endeavors kind of card. This could even be an invitation from somebody else, an invitation for you to audition, or an invitation for you to interview, an invitation for you to collaborate, again, creatively or athletically. Take it as it resonates for you. But this could be something that you could be really excited about, or passionate about, or feel very strongly about. But interestingly, we have the Five of Candles, or the Five of Wands. Now, this could suggest a moment or a phase or a few days of chaos or confusion or bad feelings. Usually when the Five of Wands comes up, it suggests some colleagues or some coworkers who are a bit confused, or even angry, or feeling disappointed, or feeling left out. This can indicate like a department that is working without a strong leader, or a group of bridesmaids who are maybe not getting along with each other, and the wedding party is in a bit of turmoil. There's a number of ways that, you know, this little scenario could play out. But often when there's an external sort of party or crew of people who are kind of in their egos, there's a call for you to sort of be like a leader, or be more mature in order to, well, I should say, to be a better role model, or you may have to intervene in a mature way. So this could happen at work, or this could happen within the family, where there is a group of people who are feeling stuck in their egos, feeling unheard, something along those lines, and you have to intervene in some way. Now, the other way the Five of Wands can play out is that it could just be that your calendar is very packed, and that you have a lot of obligations that has you, you know, back and forth, pulled in many different directions. So take it as it resonates for you. You know, it could be the sort of thing where you have not only work obligations, but then you have rehearsal, and then you have to get to the gym, and you have to get your kids to soccer practice, and also you have to pick up something for your brother's birthday and get it to the post office, and also, you know, that kind of a thing. So take it as it resonates for you, but it really requires a deft hand either way. But it could be the kind of thing where you get cranky because your schedule is so cram-packed, and or it could be that there is a group around you that is feeling anxious, frustrated, a group of people that are not being their best selves because potentially they don't have a good leader, or for any number of reasons, they aren't being their ideal selves. So it's something for you to be aware of. But finally, we have Temperance, which will be a lovely break from whatever this is. Temperance is a healing card, but it's also an artful card. It calls for you to be aware of, you know, balance, work-life balance. It calls for you to talk less, feel more. It calls for you to get back into your sort of creative, restful side. It is one of the cards that has an angel on it, so there is also a call for, you know, the spirituality piece, to take a break, to meditate, whether you do it, like I said, in the woo-woo yoga position kind, or through a walk in the woods, whatever. Give yourself a little time out, even if you're very busy, even if you're very excited to chase a new opportunity or nurture a new beginning, and especially if you have to look after this bunch, be sure to find time to give yourself a little time out and some self-care. If you need a spa day, whatever that looks like for you, you are being encouraged, possibly even gifted with something like that. So Capricorn, I am going to leave it there for you. It looks like a very exciting, possibly hectic, but also rewarding month. Please take very good care. Until next time, bye for now. Hey Aquarius, let's grab your May rune. Dagaz, nice one. Okay. And your Moonology manifestation card. Believe in your good luck. First quarter moon in Sagittarius. Love it. Okay, let's grab your tarot. Ooh, she's come up a lot. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Knight of Candles, which is the equivalent of the Knight of Wands in the traditional tarot, is has come up in, I'd say, 4 or 5 readings today. So that's something of a community card. And the Cottage Magic Tarot, which is what we're using here, the author-illustrator has switched up the suits of the minor arcana slightly. So the biscuits is the equivalent of Pentacles. The quills is the equivalent of swords. The teacups is the equivalent of cups. And the candles are associated with the wands in the traditional tarot. But first, let's get to your super cool rune, which we love, Degas, which is the rune of day or breakthrough, daylight. We love this because it's like, dawn breaking. So there's a few things we can interpret this to mean, like a breakthrough, like, when the dawn breaks through and we finally see the light. It's kind of like, ooh, oh, I get it now, right? It's also like when the light comes in the beginning of the dawning of a new day. It's a fresh start. So there's that associated with it, a fresh start. There's also growth, consciousness, clarity. Ambition is also associated with this rune. So it's growth, growing, light, breakthrough. So if you were looking for, something, some positive news, positive growth, a breakthrough, an idea, clarity, this is your sign. Not to mention over here we have believe in your good luck. I mean, could these two be more related? It's very positive oracle cards for you, right? Now, looking at your tarot, your theme card is the Two of Biscuits, which the Two of Pentacles kind of suggests you're juggling a couple of things right now, which, can be tough, but it always suggests that, like, you're doing it for a reason, right? Like, sometimes this card comes up when you're juggling a day job and maybe night school in order to get an advanced degree in order to get a better job or something like that. Or sometimes you juggle a day job while you're pursuing your rock career, your rock star ambition, right? And having to have a survival job when you know deep down in your heart of hearts you're a rock star is tough. But, as long as you keep plugging away, maybe this is the month where you get your breakthrough, you get your big break. And, finally one of your videos gets, one of your TikToks of one of your songs gets discovered on TikTok or whatever. So we see you starting the month, juggling and struggling, but pursuing your passions. When the Knight of Wands comes through, it is a card of pursuing, but oftentimes when the Knight of Wands comes up, we see the Knight of Wands as an external person, an external message or messenger coming in with news or an invitation for you. So this could be something like a manager has an invitation for you to, of a gig, or this could be a job interview for you, or an invitation to collaborate, or something like that. Something you want to take action on, something you're excited to take action on, a kind of a next level thing. So even though it feels in the start of the month you're just kind of juggling the same old, something new and exciting is coming in fairly early on, and it's going to leave you with some choices here, and some really fun choices too. The next couple of cards are about these choices. The Seven of Teacups actually has a number of different options here for you, and a few of them feel actually really good. As we can see in the artwork of this card, like this one has some gemstones in it, this one has a heart, this one has a butterfly, this one has the victory wreath, this one has a rose. There's a couple of them that don't look so good. There's a snake in that one. I'd avoid that one, obviously. I don't know what this one is, but it's gray, so that's probably not great. But so there's a number of things here that you could go for that might be fulfilling. I mean, do you want gems? Do you want victory? Do you want, I mean, a butterfly? That looks kind of cool. I mean, whatever. You might want to try a few things. You might want to, it's kind of like when you're on, I'm going to say it, you guys. It's kind of like when you're on a dating app and there's a bunch of cute guys on there and you're like, I think I'll swipe on them all. I don't know which way you swipe. I think I'll message them all. You know, it's that kind of a thing. And see what happens. Because you never know. Because it might be, you might have to vibe check them all, right? But it might be that, because here we get to the Two of Quills or the Two of Swords, and it looks like you're stuck with, oh no, should I go with this one or that one? The Two of Quills has you kind of stuck in a point where you're like, I don't know which way to go, this way or that way. The thing with the Two of Swords, which is what this is that you often get stuck in a this or that way of thinking, but the truth is you don't have enough information to make a decision between two things. And it might actually be, it usually is, that there's this third thing you haven't yet considered or this third thing you haven't tried. It might be that you're kind of torn between the jewels and the heart, but it's really the victory wreath that you haven't even sampled yet or you didn't get information on or whatever it is. Just, these are stupid examples or maybe just metaphors. But the truth of it is, for some reason, you don't have enough information yet. You don't have enough data collected, or you haven't done a vibe check on the third thing. So once you get enough information, you'll actually be able to make a decision. Or once you actually do a vibe check on the third thing, you'll go, oh, this is the one I was waiting for. So if you find yourself at that impasse, like, I don't know which way to go, this way or that way, it's just because you don't have enough information. Don't make a decision you're not ready to make. So first of all, you get that permission. Also, believe in your good luck. So the best or the better thing is still out there. You just, you will need more information. You'll be ready to make your decision when you have enough information. So believe in your good luck. Trust in your breakthrough. Keep on juggling, but some exciting things are coming through this month. Just know that you might not be ready to sign on the dotted line at the end of the month. Just keep exploring your options. You'll know when you're ready to commit. It might not be at the end of May. It might be June-ish. So, Aquarius, I hope that's helpful for you. I hope that was fun and enjoyable. I'm going to leave it there for you. Thank you so much for joining me. And until next time, please take good care. Bye for now. Hey Pisces, let's grab your May rune. Tiwaz. Okay. Let's get that there. And your May Moonology manifestation card. Know your worth. New moon in Taurus. Okay. And your tarot for May. Ooh. Okay. Okay. Pisces. All right. So your rune, Tiwas. This is traditionally the warrior rune. This is about doing the right thing for the right reason. Sometimes it's about going into battle. Sometimes it's about justice, getting justice, going for justice. There can be a piece here about courage. There can be a little piece here about sacrifice, but for the right reason, not like self-pity or self-deprecation, but like for the right reason, in the way that a warrior or a soldier sometimes has to sacrifice for out of duty. Sometimes there's a piece here about intrigue in the same way that like you might, sometimes some people have to go undercover to get knowledge for the right reason, like for this, like a CIA, like a spy. For the right reason, you might have to do something sort of secretive, but for the right reason, for justice or whatever. Most often, though, like in our modern world, in our modern lives, for people I read for, you know, I see this as a call to be brave, to stand up for yourself, and to do the right thing for the right reason. So take it as it resonates for you. Now, the Moonology manifestation card is Know Your Worth. So putting these two together, it could be the sort of thing where it's time to ask for a promotion, ask for a raise, negotiate a contract. That can be, you know, a little bit scary. You can need to have your brave on to know your worth and ask for what you're due, or ask for sort of the next appropriate level at work or something like that. Take it as it resonates for you, or as it might make sense in your world or your phase of life. Just generally throwing your hat in the ring in any phase, or like auditioning for an improv group, or you know, a dance troupe or something like that. That can be, you can need to find your courage for that. Yeah, take it as it resonates for you. But let's look at your tarot, because we start with a kind of hinky card. The Five of Candles, which is the same as the Five of Wands. I can't remember if I mentioned this to you yet, but I've already forgotten. We're only a few minutes into your reading and I've already forgotten. The author, illustrator of this deck switches up the name of the minor arcana suits. So candles are wands from the traditional deck. The teacups are the same as cups. So you have a lot of fire actually in the candles. That's a lot of fire for you, Pisces, now that I look at this. But in any case, so the Five of Wands is a card that can indicate a little bit of chaos or conflict in your world. And this can show up kind of externally or internally, or sometimes both. And you know, this is why we come to the tarot, because we like a little heads up when this kind of thing is going to be heading our way. But So externally, this can look like coworkers or colleagues that are feeling a little frustrated because maybe they don't like their boss, or there's friction in a particular department at work. Maybe there's a group that's kind of in their ego, or everybody's trying to be the boss, or nobody's taking responsibility and everybody's finger pointing kind of situation. It could be happening in a department that doesn't have a strong manager, or maybe the manager is, on vacation or something like that. It could be the kind of thing where it's happening in a family dynamic where the family is disapproving of, say, somebody's wedding plans, and everybody is trying to put their 2 cents worth in, and everybody's getting their feelings hurt when the bride is not going along with it, or the bride's getting her feelings hurt, kind of thing. Could be something like that. That's how it could show up externally. And then you have to kind of come in and be the mature voice, or be a role model, or mediate in some fashion. Or maybe at work you just need to keep your head down and not spread rumors, or not participate in whatever gossip, or it could be that sort of a situation. Or if it's happening internally, it could be the kind of thing where your schedule is just so jam-packed between like the job and family obligations, and maybe a side hustle, or maybe you're also looking at interviewing to another thing and keeping that on the down low, while also making sure you get the kids to soccer practice, and making sure that you're helping with the wedding arrangements for your sister, or whatever it is. Maybe your schedule is just so jam-packed it's making you a cranky person, and you have to remind yourself to be more mature, or self-regulate, or whatever. Could be something like that. It could be a little of both. It could be there's a little bit of immaturity happening at work due to some ego distress in a department that doesn't have a strong leader, plus you have an overly scheduled calendar, and between all of these things, you're not your best self, whatever. Could be something like that. So here's the heads up to make sure that you're aware that this is potentially a bit of an ego bluster in May, and just to have a lot of chocolate on hand, or whatever resolves your own sort of stress management issues, and just know that whatever is going on externally looks to be a lot of ego maladjustment. It's people who want to be heard that are afraid they're not being heard, and there's imbalance there. Now, in the supporting cards, we have a couple of really positive cues for you. The Nine of Teacups indicates a sort of a wish fulfillment, or a moment where you realize you've achieved something, or there's some sort of a blessing or a gift that comes in for you. And how that shows up for you is different from the other Pisces listening. So it's something that makes you feel satisfied, or recognized, or validated. It's not necessarily winning the lottery. It's not something as huge as that. But it's a little gift, or a little recognition, or validation, or an invitation to celebrate in some way. And it's a day or a few days of feeling really good, feeling recognized, feeling seen. This could be anything from an invitation to interview for a really great job you like, to a post you make on social media getting a lot of followers, or even just one person you really admire making a comment on a post of yours, something like that. It could be hitting a milestone at work and getting a gift or a commission or something like that. It could be a crush asking you out. I mean, it could just show up in so many ways, because it's just one of those cards that is about feeling good, feeling validated, feeling seen. So enjoy. Now, we also have another victory card in the Three of Candles. This is a sort of an up-leveling or reaching the next plateau in an area, possibly your career or creative projects or athletic endeavors. It's something that you're excited about. It's seeing something that you have put blood and sweat and tears into, and something you're passionate about, that you get recognition for, you see the results coming in. It's an achievement of some kind. So again, take it as it resonates for you. It could be a creative endeavor gets sold, an athletic milestone, like in terms of minutes or however athletic milestones work, right? Something like that, but a validation, an achievement, a next level victory. Finally, we have the Nine of Candles, which does suggest you've been working really hard, and it does tend to indicate there could be some level of exhaustion or tiredness near the end of the month. Oops, sorry about that. There's just like a truck in my neighborhood. So there is a warning near the end of the month not to work too hard, not to burn yourself out. You are nearing a goal usually when this card comes up. So there is the reminder here to pace yourself, to prioritize, not take on any new projects, to focus on what's most important now while you finalize a particular project, or sort of reserve your energy in the final legs of a project that's reaching a launch point or something like that. If you're experiencing like headaches or any physical issues, see a professional, see a doctor. Do take care of yourself. The Nine of Candles or Nine of Wands does indicate you do need to protect yourself, protect your physical health, and if need be, create realistic boundaries. Say no sometimes, even to other projects or people you might usually want to say yes to. Be realistic about what you can take on in the last week or two of May. Yeah, it looks like a mixed bag, I'm going to say. It looks like you have some successes and some achievements, but also there are some tricky spots around maybe some colleagues or coworkers or family, and just in terms of your own physical health, calendar, and or just general capacity or wellness. So Pisces, I'm going to leave it there. I hope this has been helpful. Thank you so much for joining me. And until next time, please remember to take care. Be brave, but take good care. Until next time, bye for now.